Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is sopamanxx, and I love to play Red Orchestra 2. But that's not what I'm here to talk about because you shouldn't play that game. It's too hard for you. I'm here to talk about something that I wanted to make a video of, and this is related to another video I'm gonna do later, which is a very short one. And I wanted to talk about a little bit about this that I found very recently. I know this is kind of old already, like a week old. In fact, it's almost like a week old, like 8 9 days old. And I found this little article on the internet. I don't know how I got it, but I think I got it on my recommended or something. And I was like, I think we all know where this is going. And I read this thing. Star Wars New Jedi Order director says she will ignore fan criticism. I'm just drowning out those voices until I'm done. I'm not logged into Twitch. Or, sorry, into Twitter right now, so whatever, it's fine. But this kind of has a little bit of an effect on me, and I'm not talking about the disaster that Disney has been for the last like 10 years or so. I think that for the last 10 years they have put out like some decent movies, but most of the time they're just putting out this garbage. And I wanted to delve a little bit deep into this. And what I'm going to be talking about today, very briefly, I'm going to be talking about first thing is what's been happening with Disney and how they've lost, like, from according to what I read online, which could be wrong, but apparently what I've read online, they've lost like a couple of $1 billion in just their bad marketing campaigns, their wokeness and whatever. And why is this happening? Like, why is Disney trying to do this? So first thing, like I said, I'm just drowning out those voices until I'm done. And then I Googled that same phrase and I put it here. And this is what I got from Fandom Wire. I'm going to post the links on the comment section if you want it. I'm sorry, on the video description. I'm just drowning out those voices until I'm done. Daisy Ridley Star Wars movie is doomed to repeat the Acolyte mistake as the director refuses to listen to what the fans really want, which is true, by the way. The Acolyte is a terrible film. It's a terrible series. And I'm going to be legit with people. I have not watched anything related to Star Wars. At least not the old episodes, like episodes 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3. Even though 4, 5, 6 is kind of a misnomer because George, despite what he might say, he never intended it to be like a movie series. He was like, shit, I'm gonna make Star Wars, and if it's good, people like it, I'll make a second one, and if they like that, I'll make a third one, and then I'm gonna like retroactively retcon it so that it's like, oh shit, okay. But he never did that on purpose, by the way. Just to clarify, he said that he's like, oh, that was always the plan, and it's like, nah, it wasn't a plan. He made a universe about it, but he never like had that plan. Just want to clarify that because I think it's kind of unfair that people give him that kind of credit. But the Acolyte, from what I've seen on YouTube, is terrible. It's trash, and there's always going to be some people that like it. But like I always say, there are people who like Hitler and Stalin and Mao Zedong, even though they killed millions of people at this point. So hey, just because you like someone doesn't mean that it's good. And like objectively good, not like subjectively good. Like a show can be objectively bad, and people are still gonna say like, "Wow, this is great! It changes everything." There's always gonna be a couple of people like that. So, this is what I started to read. Forget about this feature video crap. Actress Daisy Ridley would reprise the role as Rey in the new Star Wars movie, which I already think is a mistake. I hated her. She looks like a fucking mannequin. She doesn't have acting range, and she sounds like an eagle when she screams. So yeah, it's terrible. And I want to clarify that I have watched The Force Returns, not when it came out, by the way, but like I think like I watched it like 2 years later, and I watched parts of it while skipping through it. I skipped a lot of it because I honestly don't remember a lot of it. And the first one was like, it was okay. The Last Jedi, I never watched it, and the other one, I never watched it. I have not watched The Last Jedi or The Rise of Skywalker because I think it's ridiculous. I'm never going to watch it. And obviously, they say other in an interview, she wasn't interested in listening to final opinions while shipping the next chapter in the hit chat franchise. So this is what I really want to talk about real here because why I'm trying to think about this from my perspective. Obviously, I don't think it's possible to offer from any other perspective. I think I can only offer my own perspective. But I don't understand what the point of this is. What person says, and this is legit, and this you can take this example to any other situation, but what person says, I'm not interested in listening to fan opinions while shaping the next chapter in the hit franchise. I understand that when you are a movie director, you have an image, you have an idea, you want to transform that into film. So you have a very specific idea. You can't listen to everyone, but you also can't ignore everyone. And this is a very fun thing, by the way, because this is a direct parallel to George Lucas and what he was doing in the original Star Wars. If you don't know anything about Star Wars, basically the first three movies that George directed, and then the sequels that he directed in from like 1995, he tried to like started to create the movies for the next one for 1999 of the prequels, and these are the sequels, obviously, and then the other shows that they made, which I don't care about. I've not watched any one of them except The Mandalorian. Which season one of The Mandalorian was pretty good. I liked it, and we all fell in love with Grogu because who wouldn't? But it's very important to understand that when George was directing or planning the original movies, episodes 4, 5, and 6, you gotta understand that he had people next to him that were like, yo, man, like, this is stupid. You gotta change this. There were people there that had him half on a leash. They were like, okay, George, you got like 90% control. And then he said, like, my God, I want to make this guy, and I'm going to call him Star Killer, and he's going to be he's going to be fighting against Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he's going to be fighting against everyone else. And it's like, yo, cool it. Rein it in a little bit. And George still had the ability, because he wasn't the full 100% guy. He wasn't, like, I'm sure that the people there were like, okay, cool it a little bit. And then he said, like, all right. And then we got the episode 4, 5, and 6, which in my opinion are extremely good. Some people don't like The Last Hope or Return of the Jedi. I thought they were great. He wanted to call it Revenge of the Jedi, which is not really the idea, obviously. And I know that there were some other things that he wanted to change, like about Luke Starkiller and whatever not, and killing his friends and turning evil and then coming back to the light side. But, I think that they did a good job in reining him in and saying, hey, man, like, you know what? Like, you have good ideas, but you need to, like, filter them out a little bit. And episodes 1, 2, and 3, which are the prequels, is what happens when George gets, like, complete creative control. He's like, he can't really be stopped by anyone. He created Star Wars. He's the owner of Star Wars. And so he's like, you know what? Like, I made this stuff. I made all this stuff. It's cool. But now you're going to listen to me, you fuckers. I'm going to tell you how everything is going to go. You're not going to tell me how it's going to go. I'm going to tell you how it goes. And so you can see it when he was making the movies. He was saying, like, I may have gone too far in a few places. He chickened out with the whole, like, Darth Jar Jar thing, which I think would have been amazing. If he would have had the balls to go with Darth Jar Jar, the prequels would have been the best, better than the originals, for sure. But he didn't. He Ahmed Best, which was the actor for Jar Jar, confirmed that he said, like, at one point that he had a conversation with George, and he said, I want you to be a little sneaky, a little bit funny. And this has been analyzed. The Darth Jar Jar theory has been, like, confirmed by everyone except by him. But, that's kind of the stuff that happens. And the reason why I'm pointing this out is because, again, when she says here she wasn't interested in listening to fan opinions while shaping the next chapter in the hit franchise, if you don't listen to the fans while still respecting your idea, then what you're doing is you're creating a disaster. It's the same thing that happened with Rey Skywalker, Rey Palpatine, Rey whatever the fuck her name was. Everyone hates her now because she's like, oh, she's a Mary Sue. Even fucking Luke Skywalker had to train. This bitch is like, oh, I'm just good now. Oh, I'm better than you. Oh, I can use the Force better than the fucking Chosen One. Fuck you. Fuck you, or the son of the Chosen One, Luke Skywalker. And there was that interview that they did at one point where they say Anakin blew up the Death Star. And I was like, nope, I'm done. Never watching The Acolyte. I was never going to watch it, but now I made an effort to avoid it. And then they have the problem with The Acolyte, where whoever she is, because of course now they're doing the woke shit, so they have to hire a woman because woman means better, according to Hollywood. It doesn't. They ignore fan demands leading to the show's failure, and avoid Chinoy's film could face a similar fate. I hope so, because at this point they're bleeding money. Like, Disney has lost so much money on bad movies. Even their DreamWorks or their Pixar side is like losing money, and that shit used to make like money hand over fist. Like, that shit was like Frozen came out. I remember watching Frozen when it came out with my at the time girlfriend. I remember having sex with her one time while we were watching Frozen. Like, things like this. Like, I remember that movie, and it makes me feel warm and fuzzy because I managed to fuck my girl while we were watching it. Ex-girlfriend at the time. But this is the kind of thing that I'm talking about. And they're saying like Daisy Riley will return to the Star Wars for okay. The upcoming like Sharmeen Obaid, you know, I'm sure she's got like a lot of hits. So let's just like Google this woman. Oh yeah, no, I can tell you definitely that this woman has a very clear idea about what she's doing. Let's see what she's directed, real quick. Won 2 Oscars for something? I don't know what she won Oscars for. I don't know any of the shows. I'm sorry, but you can tell that she's a woke bitch because she has Song of the Horse, Three Brave, A Girl in the River, Woman, Ladies First, um, Freedom Fighters, A Woman in the Cover, 2 out of 2 short, 2.2 out of 10, baby. Hell yeah. A Life Too Short, I Am Somebody, and you can tell Woman in Charge. Yeah, no, this woman is definitely a woke bitch, and she's gonna ruin everything. I don't know what she won Oscars for. Probably like some garbage movie that I've never heard about. Best documentary: A Girl on the River, The Price of Forgiveness, Saving Face, and I Don't Care. So obviously, when you see this, this is the person that should be directing Star Wars. No, you should get a good director, not a woke director. Get a good director. But I'm gonna tell you about a little point about the upcoming thing and discuss her approach to it. Ovai Chinoy also revealed how she was dealing with the noise created by Final Venus Shade of Line. Just at the risk of making one mistake that doomed the acolyte, and here's why. Yeah, tell me. Set to help. Yeah, yeah. The film was suit. Yeah, yeah. Here we go. Spoke about the comment that all fans have a personal reason to having their own opinions. Yeah, of course. People have clear ideas about who should direct or what the story should be about. I'm just rounding out those boys and telling them. Again, I half respect this because this is okay. Like I said before, if you're a director and you have a vision for a movie, that's fine. But the movie, you should always have a few people that can help you, unless you're some kind of like genius. Like Steven Spielberg made Hook. Remember, Steven Spielberg, who made Schindler's List, made Hook, which is not a super good movie, but it's fun to watch. At least you can say that Hook is fun to watch. The Star Wars sequels are not fun, except maybe the first one, The Force Awakens, which was okay. I watched it. It wasn't super good to me. To me, it just felt like a combination of A Last Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. I felt like I like taking the 3 movies, like tightening them up and getting rid of everything and just like making them in a sequence. And I was like, it's okay, it's fine, it's not amazing. It's like 7 out of 10 for me at least. Definitely not a like 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10, but it was like a 7 to me, a flat 7. The sequels were bad. Then they had made another sequel and it was terrible and the story had no sense or no meaning. And the fun fact, again, now that I see the picture of George, according to what I read online, George Lucas was apparently when he sold the franchise for like $2 billion or something to Disney, which I'm pretty sure have already kind of recouped the cost, but not too much. When he got the idea, he said like, "Here you go. I'm gonna give you like what you should be doing, like a continuation of what we were talking about, like Luke Skywalker. What happened to the continuation of Han Solo and everything?" And they basically took that script and wiped their assholes with it. They didn't care. They threw it away, which is the reason why we now have Star Wars Legends, which is all that like original universe that they invented, and then the new universe, which is a pile of shit that no one cares about. So you can look it up. This is legit. Like they literally discarded like thousands upon thousands upon thousands of things that they could have made movies about, and they said like, no, 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 no. I want to create my own thing, and then they ruined it and made this garbage. It's a pile of shit. And here's the thing: added that she was focused on that would attract a new section of the audience to the theaters. Okay, let me clarify the stupidity of this. Star Wars already has a fan base. You don't need to attract a new section of the audience. And also, I can read between the lines. You say in a new section, you're trying to get the lesbians, the gays, the transgender, all those people? That's stupid. Because I'm pretty sure that before you came in, there were people who were transgender, who were gay, who were lesbians, and all the other stuff that were already watching Star Wars and were fans of it. You didn't need to make this shit to try to make it better. Why do you want to create this? And she wanted to create a sense of necessity to attract loyal fans of the franchise. Well, they already tried that, and that went super well with what was the name of that garbage? The Acolyte? Yeah, that went really well. Introduce character, kill character. Oh yeah, that looks like the kind of person that definitely would never be on the cover of a magazine. Ignoring fan opinions could lead to her repeating the Acolyte. This is an assumption, but I agree. She was trying to tell a political story through the series. Yeah, just like George Lucas was in the Phantom Menace. About the Trade Federation and the blockade and taxation. Yeah, man, that's so fun. No one gave a shit. What do people want when they go to watch Star Wars? They want lightsaber battles. They want people like using the Force. You want Jedi, but not too many. You want other stuff. Give me a second. There's a fucking. Can you hear that outside my window? There's a truck. They want like that's what people want. In fact, I remember when the original one came out, like a Phantom Menace came out. I knew that it wasn't as good as the originals, but I still loved it because I was like, here we go, we're starting the movie well. Lightsaber fighting in the first like 10 minutes, characters that you introduce properly, a story that has a plot, semblance of a story, semblance of character evolution, and George Lucas knows what he's doing. He's a good director. Then these fucking bitches come over here and say, oh, I want to make a political story. No, 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 no. The High Republic thing failed. 14% audience rating. 14% audience rating. It doesn't matter if the main reviewers are like, this movie, this series is transcendental and changes the world and helps all the woman. If people aren't watching your show, you fucked up. If you want to make a political message, don't use Star Wars for it. Like, that's how it goes. This is the idea about this. So let me just get rid of this and see if you can see my face. Here we go. So I have a big problem with this, and I think everyone else does. But my main issue with this, my main problem with this, the biggest problem that I have with this, the biggest, is why is Disney doing this? That's my question, because I think that besides the fact that they ruined Star Wars, I don't know why they're doing this. Like, what is the angle here? Because there's always an angle to things. Disney at this point, I'm sure is losing money. Like I said, Disney has been losing money for like the last 3 or 4 years. Like, and not just like 1 million, 2 million, like hundreds of millions of dollars constantly. Their stocks are plummeting. Everything's going badly. Why? And here's the first thing that we have to analyze is why this is happening. I like to give an equivalence factor. I have a little company, I said it before in another video, I have a little company that teaches English to other people in Chile, where I live, and I've survived off of that for the last, since 2019, essentially. And in that company, I have teachers working for me, I do classes as well, and everything's fine. I have a methodology that I created, blah, 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 it's not important. But the angle that I'm trying to get to is, I can't imagine, for example, like if I look at my audience, for example, my audience are people that want to learn English and how to speak it in a very short amount of time. That's what the whole focus of my company. So it's not like English classes are regular. It's like, in 3 months, I'll have you speaking in English, basically. Like 3 months, 4 months tops. And they're like, cool, okay. So I have a customer base. Let's say out of the 18 million people that live in Chile, let's say that maybe like I can get like 100,000 clients, maybe a million, maybe 500,000 clients, people that want to learn English easy in a normal way, like communicative English, not memorizing phrases and grammar, no, like actual English. So I have these people, and I think about it again from my perspective. It would be like saying, you know what? Right now, I'm going to teach you Surinamese. We're not going to teach English anymore, because and then my audience would be like, I'm so, dude, what the fuck? Like, we want to learn English. We don't give a shit about Suriname or whatever. We don't give a shit. Why are you trying to teach me a language that I'm never going to use, that I don't want to learn? And I'd be like, well, it's a political move. I have a political agenda, and I want people to learn the Suriname language. So what happens in that case? From the 500,000 people that wanted to learn English in Chile, from the 20 million people population in Chile, let's say 500,000 want to learn English and have money and want to take the course, potential customers. From that 500,000, it goes to like 100. Now, those 100 people that want to learn Surinamese for whatever reason, like Surinamese, like a very like obscure language. I don't even know if Suriname means. I know Suriname is a country, but I don't know if Surinamese is a language. So let's say they have a language, for example, and I say I'm going to teach those 100 customers, and now I have 100 customers, and they learned Surinamese, and now my company's closing because I don't have a customer base anymore. So they went over to another option, which is the only thing that Disney's like advantage at here. Like, there is no other like franchise, I want to say, besides DC, besides Marvel, but Marvel is owned by Disney now. So let's say DC is DC, for example. If there was like an opponent for them, like if there was like instead of a Disney, there was like a backwards like Yen Sid kind of guy, Yen Sid. If Yen Sid came out and he was not a mouse, he was a ferret, and instead of big like ears, he had like buck teeth, and he was smiling, and he had a girlfriend called I don't know, like I don't know, Jin. What's backwards of Minnie? Enin, Enin, something like that. Enin me, im something, whatever. And someone had the opposite idea of what they were offering. If someone were to make like a copy paste of Star Wars, supported by like George Lucas, and they said, "No, this is not Star Wars. This is War of the Stars. It's totally different." I guarantee you that people would be like flocking over there because they'd be like, "Oh, it's Star Wars, but it's not Star Wars, but it's well made. I'd rather watch that." You're attacking your customer base. That is the worst thing that you could ever do with a company, and this is what locals do. By the way, locals, they attack their fan base. There was a video made by a YouTuber called The Professional 155 very recently that basically talks shit about like locals and said like, for example, there's Wings of Redemption that got a $500 donation, and instead of saying thank you, he said like, listen, what am I gonna do with $500? That's already like 30% gone, and then I have to like use it to pay fuel. So out of all that money, I get nothing. And he's insulting his audience. Dark Side Phil, another local, a fucking asshole and a loser in life. Same thing. Every time that he has a day with low donations, he says like, guys, come on, man. Like, donations is low, and you guys wanted me to play this game. No one wanted you to play the game. He said it. But this is the same thing. Like, why would you attack your customer base like that? And here is the final thing. And this is what is interesting. And I've tried to find it, and I unfortunately could not find it, even though I tried to find it on Google. I tried to find it on YouTube, and I just couldn't find it. One time, this was like a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago. On YouTube, I got a recommendation from Joe Rogan's, podcast, whatever it's called. And in that podcast, there was a person that he was talking to, and he said, "Do you know the reason why we're getting so many like woke like things right now? Like people are like losing money over this. Like Sweet Baby Inc., that company that like makes this that makes these like fixes to movies and games. You said that they're terrible and everyone hates them, but it pleases the woman. Is because the government, according to what this person said, which can be true or false, but this is what that person said. He said the government, if you don't have these like people that support your companies to make them more woke, then they have the right to almost do a shadow ban on you. Like, we're not going to support you. You're going to keep paying taxes, but we're going to like block you. You're not going to be able to do your work openly." And that's why these companies have been like creating all these like woke symbols for the last like 10 years. There was a High Guardian Spice, which was a piece of garbage that someone made that was poorly written, that was poorly designed, that was made only by fat, ugly ass woman, because that's what makes you a good director, being a fat ass woman, not having a good, base. Gotham High, or like My Name Is Not Starfire. All these like woke things that people are doing that sell terribly, lose money to the company that's putting them out, and they're forced to do it, according to this person, because if they don't do it, if they don't get like that wokeness integrated into them, then the United States government, at least, I don't know if other countries, in fact, I think that the only one that does is the United States. But according to what this person said, again, if someone knows about it, please post the link of the comment section, because I know I saw it. This is not craziness. I know I saw a person that said like, one time he said, and I wish I would have saved that, I didn't, but I want to know. This person said like, there's a reason, because the government is forcing people to say like, hey, now you have to be there, now you have to do this woke shit, and even though you don't want to, you're going to do it anyway. So people are fucked. People are completely fucked, and you can't do anything about it. Like, sorry, tough shit, you can't do shit about it, now you have to do this like this. And it's like, what the fuck? And this is the problem with this. They're forcing companies to do this woke shit, because from a business perspective, and this is the reason why I know it's like this. This is the reason why I support this theory that I saw on Joe Rogan from a person whose name I don't know. Again, if someone knows what I'm talking about, please post it. But that person said this, and the biggest problem that I have with it is that after they said this, it makes sense. Because from a business perspective, what they're doing is completely wrong. Any person with a business degree, I don't have a business degree. All I learned was from practice and application and making mistakes. That's why I have a company that works now and I'm starting to expand it. But from any kind of perspective, this would be like, okay, you have a perfect business model, let's change it. No, if it works, you continue with it. You don't ever change it. This is the same thing that happened with the fucking Bud Light. You know, Bud Light lost like millions and millions and millions of dollars. They lost like their spot. Remember, like Slim Shady, the Houdini video, he's like talking about 2002. Slim Shady had the 2002 version of him had the Bud Light shirt. If he had that shirt right now, what would he be called? He would be discriminated for his sexuality, which is a very kind way of saying what I want to say, but I can't say. PC way of saying it, if you will. So this is the problem. There's all these things, all these companies that are trying to change things. They try to put that this guy who's a transgender person to advertise beer, and you have a customer base. Let's think about it, like from the perspective of Bud Light. Just to take one real world example, you have Bud Light, which before this campaign happened had a very esteemed reputation. You created a customer base for people, a very good customer base. So everyone's like, you know, I'm gonna drink a beer, but I don't want to drink like something very like fully like high grade alcohol. So I'm Bud Light, and it's like the cheapest beer that you can get, and it's good, and people like it, and there's a customer base for it. So you have a customer base and it works. And you have to keep it alive every once in a while, maybe try to change the flavor, maybe try to do a few little changes here and there to improve it. And then one day, hey, we're going to change the flavor. Or we're going to do this. We're going to, no. We're going to have it advertised by a transgendered woman. It's a dude who is transgender. It's still a dude. You're not a woman just or a man just because you change your like sex, by the way. That's not how it works. Biologically, objectively speaking, if I say I'm a woman, it doesn't like, okay, I'm a woman, it doesn't work that way. That's not the point of this video though. But imagine that situation. Imagine that situation for a second. Like you say, okay, I have an idea. And this is the whole process. And this is so important to clarify. You have the whole process like this. A person from marketing, from Bud Light, said, I have an idea. Let's advertise Bud Light with a transgender, ugly ass person. Ugly, because that person's ugly, to our audience. I fucking guarantee that someone or many people were like, this is a terrible idea, sir. Probably someone went up to this person, whoever was in charge of marketing. By the way, the person who was in charge of the Bud Light marketing campaign got fired, which is great because like that person, I hope that person starves to death on the street and never gets another job. In advertisement, at least. Maybe that person can find another profession. But you basically became PNG, persona non grata, when you made that ad. So this person goes over and says like, you know what? Yeah, I think this is a great idea. And everyone, I know, guaranteed, I'll fucking rest my fucking soul in hell if I'm wrong, that at least one person, probably a lot more from the Bud Light marketing team, because that's really, I mean, you're marketing beer. It's not that complicated. Americans love beer. I don't drink beer. I don't drink at all. I don't even smoke. But imagine the situation where you go up to a person and you say like, hey, by the way, we have this customer base. What's the customer base? 95% men, straight males with good values. Let's say like, like man and woman have to marry, and like you're trying to change it little by little. You can be a little more open. There are other ways of doing it. The army did the same thing. Remember when the army had those stupid ads that were like, hey, I'm Johnny, but actually I was Jonette. I used to be a woman. Now I'm a man. I joined the army and shit. Like it all failed. And this gives evidence to the strength of what I was saying before about what I heard in that Joe Rogan podcast with that random stranger that said the government is forcing companies to be woke or otherwise they're blocked and they can't do business in America. Why? I don't know. I don't know why. But then with Bud Light, I know I went from Star Wars to Bud Light, but the example is the same. So then she says like, no, this is going to be good. And someone said, because I guarantee they said, dude, this is a terrible idea. This is going to lose us money. This is going to make us the laughing stock of America. Let's not do this. And she said, no. It's okay. Let's ignore facts and let's have a transgender, ugly-ass woman advertise our beer to our audience of men, like 95% men with normal values where they say like man is man, woman is woman, which I'm not saying is true or false. Like if you're a man, you're a man. If you're a woman, you're a woman. It's the reality. It's not right or wrong. It's just the truth. And she made this thing, and someone saw it, and someone had to greenlight it. Someone had to greenlight that shit. Remember, when you see an ad on television, someone greenlit that shit. Remember that thing with like Kendall Jenner from the Kardashians that was like, "We are the chosen," and she had like that Pepsi can. It's just like, who the fuck? What the fuck? How quickly they removed that shit? Like a second, they said like, "Man, we fucked up. I'm sorry. Let's move on." And Pepsi lost a lot of money and a lot of publicity and a lot of stock money. And Kendall Jenner never did another ad because she's a stupid bitch that's only famous for being famous for no other reason. But they apologized for it very quickly. Very important to clarify. They apologized for it. They said like, "Yo, we fucked up. We're still gonna be selling Pepsi. We are not the people that are gonna like fix the world. We're not gonna reach peace between like two different like creeds or beliefs just with Pepsi in the middle. No." Especially not by fucking Kendall Jenner. No one gives a fuck about that little slut. No one cares. And then finally they release it, and their stock fucking goes from here, took a nosedive. Lost millions of dollars in sponsorships. People were like making viral videos about destroying Bud Lights. No one wanted to buy them. Imagine that. Imagine just destroying your company because you wanted to be woke. And this is what I'm trying to get to. This was the whole point of this video. Someone is forcing these companies. This is my theory, and I agree with the person that said the thing on Joe Rogan. Someone, according to what this person said at one point, the U.S. government is forcing companies to be woke. It's forcing them, and it's costing them millions of dollars, and it's cost businesses millions of dollars. And it reminds me of that. I just remember that there was that like one cafe in like San Francisco, I think, in the United States somewhere, which was. They made a cafe that was exclusively for women. That shit closed down in 6 months. Now, saying it from that perspective, like most restaurants and cafes eventually close unless they're super successful. If I remember reading somewhere correctly, according to what I read somewhere about companies that go bankrupt, restaurants are like one of the biggest ones that always go bankrupt. Why? Because there are already too many, and keeping up with the people's demands and the flavors of the foods is really expensive. So the margin of profit is not super big, etc., etc., etc. All this stuff. It's the same thing. Like someone is forcing these companies to go woke, and this is affecting them. And these people, like at this point, they're hiring people based on what their ideals are, rather than what their, actual talents are. And that's the problem. Like this would be like if I hired a person that like imagine that you would hire like a person to make a movie and just say like I want to make a movie about like bunnies saving the universe. All right, cool. So you go, okay, how do you make a movie? So you get a script, you have an idea, you need to get a director, you need to get a 3D effects, you need to make a what do you call it, like a sketch of the movie with like painting stills, and then you make like a sketch of that, and then you have the director finally do it. Star Wars did that when they were designing the movie. They have like sketches of all the scenes, and then they have like a very, very, very like cheap like acted or 3D environment made so that people can see what it's like, and then you have the final scene, which is when they directed. And obviously, when you make the script, you have to have an idea, an objective. You have to have characters development, and you have the beginning, the introduction. The what's the story development, the climax, and then the conclusion. Most movies go like that. That's the idea. In this case, what they're doing here, the equivalent of what Disney's doing is, let's get this person that wants to talk about women and like how vaginas are empowering to make a movie about like bunnies saving the universe. So you give her the script and she's like, well, you know what? I like this, but I'm going to change it. The bunny needs to be a woman. Okay. And she's perfect at everything. No, that's not good. Shut up. It's my movie now. And she needs to be fighting the patriarchy of the male rabbits. That's not what the movie's about. It's about a rabbit saving the universe. I don't care. I don't care. I have my political agenda right now, and you're going to have to listen to it. And they make the movie, and the movie fails. Because of course it's going to fail. Because there's already precedent for this shit. Woke movies fail because they're trash. Birds of Prey, all that garbage. I'm not saying that woke can't be done right. The series Harley Quinn, for example, with the animated series of Harley Quinn, was different. At least they tried different stuff and they tried to change things, but it had a comedic tone to it, and the writing was good, and the characters were believable, and they were like understandably there. At first Harley's straight, then she's like bisexual, and she hooks up with what's her name, Poison Ivy, and at one point Poison Ivy is dating Kite Man, and then Kite Man and they and her break up, and then they get together, and that's fine, and it was like you're not supposed to take it too seriously, but it had an objective, it had character development, it had storyline, it had fun, so it was good. But when you force it down people's throats, it doesn't work. Like, be woke. You are now a woman. It's the same thing that South Park did. Put a woman in it and make her gay, and that ruins everything. Kennedy is the girl from Star Wars right now, right? She's destroyed Star Wars essentially. Why would you take that person and put her in charge of it if you know that she's going to ruin everything? In fact, if it were like a normal business and you hired a boss and the first thing she said was like, everything that you did is wrong, we're going to change it and make women and make them gay, and then you lose the company like $1 billion, that person would be fired. Why hasn't that person been fired? This is again addressing the theory that I want to talk to them about, which is that according to what I heard in Joe Rogan, a person said the U.S. government is forcing these companies to go woke, or they're going to be sanctioned. They're going to be like shadow banned. Like, you can't show that shit in the United States. And this is the effect. Now, what? Why? I don't know why. That's something that you have to ask the government. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I wanted to talk about. So this is SobermanXX signing off. And if you like the content, like the blah blah, if you subscribe, blah blah blah, you know what to do. Subscribe. If you want to drop a follow on Twitch, on my Twitch, twitch.tv/SobermanXX. Yes, please, because I like Twitch followers. And I stream on Saturdays and Sundays, most of the days, most Saturdays and Sundays. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for me. Take care of yourselves. Peace out. And I'll see you guys soon. Take care of yourselves. See you. Bye-bye. Peace out.